Oh, that's the wrong way.
Sometimes, man, you just get to where I can't figure this out. Like help me out. I'm trying to understand, dude, what the hell is going on? So that's the name of this partnership. You tell me. You tell me.
Hey.
You tell me. 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 Live on Mondays. You tell me. Live on Mondays. You tell me. Live on Mondays. You tell me. Live on Mondays.
Man. Deuce to school. What it do, baby?
What's going on?
Man, I can't complain. I'm sitting here, don't know what to make of it, Deuce. You know, sometimes you get yourself going, you get situated, but you do it without walking by a mirror. And I just finally see what I got on. I look like I'm in La Rosa video with Kid Frost. I'm out with button this top button, and I look like I'm in the barrio.
Hey, I like it though, man. It's cold, man. You cold blooded,
Hey man, this flannel keep me warm out here in Colorado. That temp dropped a little bit these past couple of days.
Man, I tell you what, man. This what at the past month, I think I've been to Colorado 3 weeks. This is one of the weeks I ain't been. I ain't gonna lie, man. I kind of miss it, man. Kind of miss it, dog.
Yeah, it's missable, man. You know, it's I love it out here. Love it out here. Hey, look, one thing we always do when we start off, you tell me, is we have to do the brother check-in. Brother, how you doing?
Yeah.
Like how's life? How's the fam? How everybody making it, man?
Man, everybody good, man. Shoot, man, I'm excited, dog. Just, you know, coming off a victory like that. It just kind of it was Thanksgiving, you know, family was in town. I got to flex my spades dominance once again.
Yeah.
So coming off of another undefeated seat at the spades table at the fam house, man. I'm blessed and I'm happy, and you know, coming off fellowship like that just gets you energized. How about you, man? How you doing, brother?
It's all good, you know, man. I fancy myself a spades champion. Shout out to DD, my homegirl DD. Like that's my partner. We know how to talk across the table without talking. We've been playing together so long, you know. But Deuce, when I seen your highlights, you might need to come out the spade game. And they just named the game after you. It might be the chop kick tournament, the chop kick holiday tournament.
Man, you know what, man? It's always fun, and the way my family plays, like, it's one of the things. Like, soon, right? We almost start playing cards right after you get off the bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shoot, when you start walking, we're gonna put some cards in your hand. So
same with us, man.
Absolutely, and I think so many life lessons are learned at that table, whether you're playing, you know, an uncle or an auntie or you know, just family. Period, man. Me and my mom, you know, before she passed away, nobody let us play together because I mean, we dominated. And so my sister stepped in, man. My sister Shedeur did a great job on the collard greens as well. So but yeah, man, spades, man, it's just something that in our culture it's a lot of times it could be a rite of passage to get at the grown folks table. So
absolutely.
Man. Yeah,
man. I can vividly remember the first holiday gathering where I was allowed to play in the grown-ups game, and matter of fact, like you, I was my mom's partner, and she sat there. She looked across at me with them serious eyes. Said, "Boy, you better not renege. You better lock in. You better lock in. Like this ain't the kids' game up this table now."
Right now, we ain't doing that. We it's too serious, man. And I think so. We used to talk a lot of trash. And my sister Regina, she came out with one. She said, "I'm gonna get you a belt." And matter of fact, you know, I lost the belt a couple times, but that belt, man. But I taught one of my nephews were playing, and they got upset. They talked a little trash, and I said, "All right, well, go get the belt." I get the belt. I put it on, and we put it on them. And I told, and you know, the life lesson in that was. And they were just like, man, it's just like the lights come on brighter when we playing for the belt and all of this. And I told them, like, look, this is all value add about who you are as a person. So in my family, the belt means a lot more. And so I'm teaching my nephews like value add is important. What are you adding to taking the trash out at your grandparents' house? What are you adding to when you're putting gas in your mama's car? You're adding a trust factor. So your brand that you're adding through your value add, even though it just seems like a belt, I put value in the belt because of how I handle myself in life. And the same thing for them. So I just think like it's fun. It's absolutely a good time. But yeah, man, like, just that was one of the times I got to be the big unk, man, and it felt good.
Oh yeah, man. It's like you said, it's fun, but it's also a cultural rites of passage, and then it means so much more than the game as far as your growth and development and acceptance into adulthood. Amongst your family, like you go from, your auntie, being like a second mother to then becoming a friend. Someone you go to, because then it all starts around that spades table, man.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing like spades during the holidays in a black household. Nothing like
Man, what you talking about, man? And it's always funny too, man, because I talk trash by complimenting people. And so I don't never say nothing bad. I'm a bunch of this. I said, man, that was a good play. I hope that was a great play, nephew. Great play. And I said, hey man, the one I get them with is once I get the cut. And I said, you had no idea I was cutting. That's not your fault. Oh, they get so mad, man. That ain't your fault, man. You couldn't have seen me coming, man. Don't worry about it. You'll get them next time.
Yeah.
So man, it's always fun.
Life lessons. Man,
Yes,
as we
sir.
kick off episode 4, Monday Nights Live, you know what it is. It's You Tell Me with your man, Dukes the Scoop, checking in with Uncle Neely from the Pregame Show Network. Got approaching about 300 or so watching us live. Y'all make sure y'all hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell. Also subscribe to both channels because we're checking in on Big Dog Chico's network as well. It's time for You Tell Me, Scoops. I got one for you.
All right.
I got one for you. Because it's always that moving goalpost when Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffs accomplish something. So let me hit you with some numbers.
Okay.
Oklahoma State, they scored 35 points against BYU.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 28 against Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 21 against Arizona State. They scored 13 against TCU. They even scored 48 against Texas Tech. They scored 0 against Colorado. You tell me, is Rob Livingston's defense just that damn good?
Man, the proof is in the pudding. Let me tell you something. It is so hard to take a college football, a Power 4 football team to Dunkin' Donuts. And that means you got a donut, a big old circle, a 0, a shutout. Is so impressive. And I think that rebounding from the game against Kansas, tackling, gang tackling, bringing your arms when you tackle. And I always talk about that, but sometimes you're not. Sometimes the situation doesn't present itself for you to bring your arms. Colorado, they literally came out, played with their hair on fire on defense, and Rob Livingston being able to make adjustments. Ollie Gordon, who I talked about as a 6'2", 225-pound running back who had preseason Heisman hype, he couldn't get started. And I think that Colorado did such a great job. And I think it's not even just the job they did last week. It's how they rebounded from a lackluster performance. And I just that goes to coaching. And I think Rob Livingston, I think Coach Prime, I know that had to be an uncomfortable conversation after that Kansas game. And I think the way that Coach Livingston responded was excellent. And I just think it shows that the program is in good hands going forward. All right, you tell me, same question. What you think?
Yeah, I love your response. I look at it the same way, from my vantage point. I think that what happened in Kansas, it didn't even take an uncomfortable conversation with the head coach. I think Rob Livingston looked in the mirror, had an uncomfortable conversation with himself. I think the position coaches on the defense did the same thing, had an uncomfortable conversation, with themselves. And that's adjacent in addition to the one they had with their boss, the head coach. So I think they came out, more focused. I think they came out to prove, statistically and domination wise, who they really were. And the focus was on stopping the run. Like the focus was, before we even go for a sack, we're going to make sure that they know that they can't run the ball on us. And here you have Ollie Gordon was approaching a record season, school record, personal record, all those things. And just like you said, just could not get going because his defensive line was so dominant. I think it's just, you talk about proof in the pudding. I think the proof is just what Coach Prime said when he made the hire, that y'all got to stop looking at what somebody's title was and look at what the job they were actually doing. Because some people's titles, may be in a certain slot, but what they actually responsible for is more than that. And he clearly did his homework on Rob Livingston, clearly made some calls around the league and got advice, and everybody had the good things to say about him. Rob Livingston came in, did his damn thing with the interview and what he would do to make changes. And when you look at this defense, before that Kansas game, giving up 100 yards less per game than this time last year, and to pitch a shutout, like you said, let me tell the folks out there something, Dukes. They've heard me say this before, and I'm gonna keep on saying it. Winning in college football is so damn hard that you get a bowl game just by winning 50%. You win 6 games, you get gifted with a bowl game because winning is hard. And when you look at that, I don't care what kind of cupcakes your AD may try to schedule you, the majority of your games of your schedule are real deal ass games. And like you said, eloquently said, to pitch a shutout, to hold somebody to 0 points that's done put up 40. When they put up 35 on BYU was number 1 in the conference. Let's get this stuff in perspective. We went to Texas Tech. They put 48 up on Texas Tech. They come to Colorado and cannot score a single damn point.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, to the pundits, oh man, Oklahoma say sorry. That's why that happened. They weren't sorry when they scored 35, 48, 21, and 28.
Come on, man. Come with the numbers. Receipts. We need them. Receipts.
This is the shopping season, and let me tell everybody, you can't return a damn thing if you don't have your receipt.
Man, you are so right. Uncle Neely, you tell me, this Shedeur Sanders, after another 400-yard passing game, has he done enough in your eyes for the pundits to say, you know what, this guy needs to be in New York for the Heisman, as a Heisman finalist?
I'm going to say this, man. The answer is yes. It's just not publicly. When they get off the air and they driving home and they talking to their homeboys on speakerphone in the car, they say, damn, Shedeur good. When they get home and sit down at the dinner table and the wife and kids are gathered around and ask them how their day was, they say, damn, Shedeur good. But when these lights come on right here and that mic turns on, they say everything other than that in the world instead of giving this brother credit to who he is. And so you talk about receipts. Let's look at some receipts. Now, The reason I got these receipts is I was actually going to ask you a very similar question.
Okay.
Number 1 in completion percentage. Number 2 in passing TDs. Number 3 in yardage. How is that not proven that this is the best quarterback in college football? Because to me, that number 1 stat is that completion percentage. You can yardage, that's yards after catch, TDs, a guy could get tackled at the 1 and then a running back running in. Those kind of things can be misleading. But the percentage to which your receivers catch your passes, hey, dog, you can't hide that number. You either putting it where they can get it or you ain't.
Right.
He just recently had a game where he passed at 87%. And he leading the nation at 73. You damn right crazy. He should be invited to New York. I don't think he will win it. 2 reasons. I think Travis Hunter is the clear-cut favorite, his teammate. I also think there are some voters out there who only vote for quarterbacks when you win in 10 and 11 games, and we're 9-3. But he should be front row at the Downtown Athletic Club, sitting right next to Travis Hunter for the Heisman Trophy.
And, man, first of all, great points, man. I love how you brought the receipts. Just to piggyback on what you said, when I'm talking to these NFL scouts, there are things before that you're just not hearing any longer about Grown, about my guy. You're not hearing the fact of the arm strength. Like, you're not hearing the of people talking about how tough is he. Man, like last year, there should never been a question about his toughness after how many times he got sacked a year ago. And all he did was get up and keep ticking. All he did was get up and keep going. So now you're at the point where you're grasping at straws. if he doesn't finish number one in as far as any other quarterback awards, it's crazy. But the best award that he's going to finish number one is he's now going. He 1,000%. I'm willing to bet it all. He's the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft, and there isn't
Absolutely.
a better there isn't a better award to win for a college quarterback with it. I could name names of guys who said that man is too full of himself. He's not even the best quarterback in college. How's it the Super? Those receipts are easy to find, and all he did was looked at all of those guys downplaying him when he knew he was the guy, and he didn't say nothing. He didn't go on no Twitter rants. He didn't go crazy in press conferences. All he did was just keep working. And what kind of message does that send to a guy like Julian Lewis? Keep working. Juju, all of the stuff that Juju's been the guy ever since since he picked the football up in his hand in Atlanta, Juju been that deal. And so the way that he's been able to move, not go out saying anything crazy, he stays out of trouble, he makes great grades, and what better role model or what better guy to pass you the torch than Shedeur Sanders? Yeah, man, I absolutely love it, and I'm proud of that guy, man.
We can go on and on about him, and I want to go on and about him because we got some other questions for each other. But let me throw a couple more logs on that fire that you opened up.
Right.
Generally speaking, when you are in line to pick a quarterback and pick a quarterback very early, your team sucks. It just is what it is. You either have some new coaching issues, you have some offensive line problems, whatever the case may be, you're going into a situation full of duress. When I see, Shedeur's grown, as we call him, legendary as he calls himself, and others call him as well, when I see what he's accomplished in the 4 years of college I've watched him, dig this NFL scouts, general managers, those who may be trading up to pick him. All 4 years of his collegiate career has had a different offense coordinator. He has played with questionable offensive lines that he's never thrown under the bus. He just goes about his business. So he knows how to play under duress. With all that in the same pot, never thrown under 71%, 72% in the season for completion rate. Each school he's been at each year, he either ties or breaks yardage, completion number, or even touchdown records. And he's come from two institutions that have had prolific quarterbacks in their conference. I don't know what more he has to prove that he is certainly ready for the NFL, but there's another intangible that your quarterback has to have in the NFL, beyond football IQ and arm strength, and that's being able to lead. This guy is poised in press conferences. He's poised when he's walking down the street. Like, he will represent your franchise well. You don't have to worry about him doing something that you have to call a rookie in and say, hey, man, this is the league. We don't do that. This guy has been trained and been a pro all of his life before he even got to Colorado or Jackson State. Been media ready, media savvy, know how to carry himself. If you're out there picking and you need a quarterback, he has to be the first one off the board because you're going to be that confident in what you're banking your money on. Like, these are tens of millions, eventually hundreds of millions of dollars guaranteed. If you just look what's out there, who is your safest bet when you got to lay $30 million down? I'm putting it on Shedeur Sanders. I'm putting it on Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, and that's a smart bet, man. Like, first of all, to your point, the leadership ability, the way he holds people accountable without throwing them under the bus. Man, just to be able to go out, you can see the fire in his eyes in conversation. He's telling the best player that we've seen in a long time in college football, and Travis Hunter, what to do. And you know what I like about a leader is that if he makes a mistake, he's accountable. And Travis can get on him, and he ain't saying, oh, you don't talk to me like that. I'm the quarterback. Said, all right, dog, I got you. Just be ready. Hey, man, catch the ball. And those are the small, those are like the micro as far as interactions that we see with Shedeur that kind of gives you a key or gives you a glimpse into his leadership ability. So absolutely, man, when you talk like the intangible leadership ability, that's something that people don't talk about a lot. And another thing is, man, he throws such a catchable and pretty ball, dog. I mean, sometimes you see like, and it's never a thought in his head, can I make that throw? you see guys that take an extra step or they pat the ball a little bit extra. When he makes his mind up and says, I'm throwing this ball, the ball is coming out there, and he's putting it in a place where the wide receivers have a chance to make the catch. And I just think, man, he's on the way this year. I think somebody said turnover, man, bro. Yep, dog. He protects the ball too.
What? Yeah, what turnovers?
Yeah.
What turnover? He might have an apple turnover after the game, but he ain't turning the ball over in the game. And again, let me go back to point number one I made about this guy. Number one in completion percentage. I'm not taking anything away from Lejontae Wester when I say this, but one of the reasons Wester can go 11 for 11 in the game, you ain't seeing him having to dive for a ball or jump out of bounds or keep a foot down. Like, they coming right to him.
Yeah.
They come in. Yeah. His accuracy down the field to fast receivers is unbelievable. Shedeur Sanders, no doubt about it, man. To answer your question, you asked me, did you tell me? And we flipped it back and forth from each other. Absolutely, the pundits need to admit how good he is. Absolutely will be the first quarterback taken and should be the first overall pick, because somebody, even if you ain't got it, you should trade up to get it, because this is a once-in-a-generational talent. And then Travis is going right off the board after him.
Yeah, agreed.
Man, we win so much on that one, I forgot who was on.
It's all you, Coach.
I got one for you. Kind of generic and broad based, but you have been following this program and Coach Prime and in depth. You tell me, Deuce and Scoop, what did you learn about CU football this season that you didn't necessarily know before?
Woo, man! How much time we got? Man,
the floor is yours, brother.
Man, so I think that from my inside look, it's an NFL breeding ground. The way they handle their business, the way they hold people accountable. I think that it's an NFL style college football program. I think Georgia gets a lot of credit for preparing people for the NFL and the things that they do, and I think Colorado deserves credit as well, as far as even the practice style, the practice setting. Keeping your guys fresh, keeping your guys healthy, making sure that these guys are on time. I heard coaches getting on players for being not early enough. They early to practice, not early enough, and telling them the ramifications that if you do the same thing in the NFL, you won't make it. And I think those are the things that I didn't understand about Colorado football from a distance, because you hear about the NFL experience, but nobody walks you through how does that NFL experience actually help you. What are they actually teaching? And they're thinking it's just, oh, well, I can teach you how to play in the NFL. I can teach you how to stay in the NFL. I can teach you things that'll get you a look in the NFL. We're a breeding program. We're a feeder program for the NFL. I'm watching the scouts. I'm at practice. I'm watching them. Like, they are there. And a good thing about having top level talent is that even in anybody that's followed football or watches any kind of foot film, when you go looking for one, there's always somebody else that catches your attention if it's a halfway decent football team. You go looking for one and you'll say, well, who was that guy? Or who's he throwing the ball to? Or who is that who made that block? Well, man, look at that kick step. Oh, that's a great offensive lineman. So being able to channel the way that they channel the attention for Shedeur and Coach Prime and Travis to the rest of the football team only helps them as far as NFL. And I think that I didn't understand. Another thing is how close of a brotherhood these guys have. Mm-hmm. When you see the guys playing sometimes playing a little bit in practice and genuinely enjoying their time together. Guys coming in saying, we don't want to leave this place. I mean, some of the looks that you're getting behind the scenes with the media that you provide, that Bucky provide, you're able to see guys who genuinely enjoy the program, but it's totally different when you're right next to it, when you get to see it. And you look at all the bad things that people were saying, oh, they got this and that and this and that and that. Man, bro, no, it just ain't true. And being able to go see it and say, man, these boys love each other, dog. Like, perfect example, man. Colton Hood. Colton Hood was gonna start with, and I got this early. When they found out Colton Hood, there's some fans in Auburn They found out Colton Hood wasn't starting. They were like, oh, he'll be back in the point. Man, Colton Hood loves it. I know he does. He told me. Like, he loves it out there, dog. You know what I mean? Because he understands the culture. It's the brotherhood. It's his brothers he's playing with. And I think that culture is something that you have to be around. And I just, even watching you, when you're interacting with these guys who you've been with, some of them that you've been with for 3-4 years, even when they came over from Jackson State, the culture doesn't just stop on the football field. It's the entire program. It's the media. It's the cafeteria staff. It's the training staff. It's everybody. That culture permeates through that whole community, and that's something that I didn't really understand before I got a chance to go see it with my own 2 eyes. And I think, man, so I would say the NFL readiness that Colorado provides is something that I didn't understand before I got a chance to get a close look going into the season. And I think that the culture is real, dog.
Yeah. I love
it. You, man?
I love that. Well said.
If there was something that you would have expected for me to see, what is something? Hold on. You know what? I got a better one. To follow up on that one, what the first time that you got to see it, how much? You tell me. We'll skip into it. From the first time you got a behind the scenes look during your time at Jackson State to now, where do you think just the energy around what Coach Prime has put together has changed, or if there's been any changes?
Yeah, I think there has been, but it's been changes in perception. It's been changes in that what you once subscribed as a theory has now become a proven concept. You and I talk about all the time, proof of concept. I think that at Jackson State that there was some degree of, and I'm gonna deal with Coach Prime and his staff, his ability to firmly root a coaching tree under him. I think at Jackson State, the outside lens may have suggested that these were guys that he called up as a favor to him to come coach at a HBCU in Mississippi on Lynch Street. And he wasn't really able to go out and get, true quote unquote coaching talent. That theory was proven to be incorrect. Like, Dennis Thurman, who is a NFL guru in defenses, made the Jets defense. You talk about when Bart Scott is talking about can't wait, that's Dennis Thurman, defense. When you look what he did with the Ravens, where Coach Prime and he connected, this wasn't no favoritism. This was a legit coach. You look at Coach Fleet, a running back coach, was head coach at Howard. You can just keep on running down the list. But I think a lot of people, when they saw Coach Hart, his linebacker coach, with Jason Phillips there, his former teammate from Atlanta, Coach Kevin Mathis was there, his former teammate with the Cowboys, that people just saw like these buddies getting together to coach, and they dismissed the resumes and acumen and football knowledge of these guys. Well, now you get on this bigger platform of Colorado, and now it's Power 4 because you lost the conference, so it's no longer the Power 5. And people, I think, are seeing Coach Prime and who he selects on his staff, including new additions like Robert Livingston, bringing in a Warren Sapp, bringing out of the when the NFL had passed him by, quote unquote, bringing back a backup Pat Shermer, who now publicly says, "I wish I'd have coached college the whole time." Coach Prime's ability to bring in this staff and turn this staff loose, I think folks don't give him enough credit for. When you talk about my eyeball test from Jackson State to here, Coach Prime is an organization builder, man. He knows how to get the right people in the right spots to do the right job at the right time. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that. Like, even Coach of the Year, talk is more so skewed toward the coach's record and wins and losses. Man, the way he got in here year one in Colorado, and whether it's roster deficiency or staff deficiency, and addressed it quick, fast, in a hurry, and you go from 4-8 to 9-3. I don't think he gets enough credit for his organizational acumen, not just his football IQ. So that's what I see. That's the lens I look at it.
Oh man, I almost feel like I watched it with you. Like, because the and to hear you talk about being an organization builder. We hear about team builders, we hear about program builders, but an organization builder, like that thing, that's strong, man. And when you think about everything that's come along with all the hate, the negativity, and just to be able to navigate all of that, and it's still coming. Like, what else you want from the man? He's still hating. But, you know, I'll say this. What Colorado is about to do to college football, it doesn't stop with Shedeur and Travis and the seniors going out. Now, that thing, when you said an organization builder, he is set up as far as to make this site and warehouse. We always talk about, are you lucky or are you good? If the cycle is repeatable, can you do it again? And do you have the pieces in place to make this happen again? And to hear Coach Prime talk about no bowl opt-outs, we ain't doing that. Who can say that in this era of college football? Who can garner that type of respect from guys who are on to the next level to say, man, we're gonna finish this, dog.
The players hear it and adhere to it.
Come on, bro. That's strong, man. But that's part of what? That's part of your organization. Y'all know, and them boys want to play together one more time.
Yeah.
I think that's so, man. I think that's super dope. All right.
You know,
let
me tell you this, man. Let me tell you something, because what always pops into my head is either movies or music. And when you gave that Weyerhaeuser quote about, you know, can you do it again? All I heard was Jay-Z when he said, I heard Mofo said they made Hov. Made Hov say, okay, make another Hov. Because if it wasn't me and it was you, you should be able to do it again without me.
If it was so easy, everybody be doing it. No, man.
As we break our verbs back in Mississippi, it must be ain't easy.
But you crazy. Man. Who was it on? Who asked the last one?
It's on you, baby.
Okay. I got one. Uncle Neely, you tell me, is there a better small receiver? And I say small because not 6'2", 6'3". Is there a better slot guy than Lejontae Wester in the country?
Absolutely not. Easy one, just go ahead and say absolutely not. And for those who don't appreciate it or understand it, just look at the body of work. Transferred here as a number one receiver from his previous program, coming into a situation where you know you have not only receivers in the room that look and feel like you said Jimmy Horn Jr., but you also got Travis Hunter in the room. So you know you're not coming into a number one situation.
Right.
But what does he do game in and game out? Be number one. Number one in targets, number one in receptions, number one in yards. He may be short of the touchdowns because a lot of Travis's and Shepard's are actually caught in the end zone, and Lejontae runs his to the end zone. You know, he takes a 20-yard pass and turns into a 76-yard play. I think that for his size, his stature, his football IQ, he is no doubt the number one receiver pound for pound, regardless of where he's lined up. But if you talk about slot, he is just extra special out of there. And he's got to be a guy that you look at to play on Sundays. You know, I don't think that there's going to be a team that just runs out there in the first couple rounds, you know, and grabs a receiver of that physical makeup. But when you get to those later rounds, the team that gets him is just like when Carolina had Steve Smith. Man, you are getting somebody special. You are getting somebody that for whatever reason growing up, I don't know if people didn't tell him, but somehow he didn't get the message he was little, because he plays big football. He plays big. He plays big heart, big IQ. So short answer, number one receiver out the slot in the country. It's got to be him.
Man, I just want to say I was so impressed when I started to look at his body of work and watching it and paying more attention to Colorado. I'm like, where did this dude come from? Like, you know, I knew about Horn, I knew about Travis, I even knew about Shepard. Then I really didn't know as much about this guy as I did. And I watched him make some huge plays. I mean, we talking about the diving touchdown catch he had earlier in the season. I mean, it was just, you name it. Like, and when he gets the ball in space, but you can't touch that dude in the phone booth, man. And even some of the elongated runs that we talk about, where they're throwing him a tunnel or a bubble screen, and he just makes it happen time after time. Where it's like, man, come on, bro, y'all see it? Like time after time, he created something out of nothing. And one thing I like about him more than anything is he's such a willing blocker at that size. I thought the pound for pound that you added to it was so on point, because he's a willing blocker. If you go back and you look at some of the times where they threw that tunnel to his side and he wasn't the primary receiver, he wasn't the guy, the intended target, he was still throwing his body around to make sure that to make sure that whoever was catching the ball was going to be able to score or have an opportunity to gain positive yardage. So, man, shout out to him, man. Pound for pound, I think pound. If you had pound for pound rankings, he's right up there at the top.
I'm smiling, Dukes, because I got to tell you something you already know because you follow the game, but tell the chat out there something that they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to catching and not catching, Shedeur Sanders is not a nice and forgiving guy. Like, he takes that personally. Like when it's a practice, he will tell a coach, "No, you need to get him out. He's not ready." He will do it during the game. Like if he targets you and you're not there where you're supposed to be, the target and moves on to somewhere else.
Right.
Well, ask yourself, if you know that about Shedeur Sanders, why does he keep going back to Lejontae Wester so much? Because Lejontae Wester don't let him down. Period. Man, he don't let him down at the ball. I mean, the dude was 11-11 last week. The week before that may have been like 10 of 11. A week before that, like 13 or 14. When you talk about the big part of this completion percentage that Shedeur has, it's Lejontae Wester's hands, man. Like, and then what he does with it after he gets it is a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, man. Like the way he went off the other day, man. Just went absolutely crazy. And like you said, man, so many explosive plays on the season. I mean, he's got to have one of the. We'll talk about Shedeur's. Like, if this wasn't one of the most fun teams to watch this year, when you talk about explosive plays and like just amazing plays, even Will Shepherd, Willie One Hand, what I call him, like, excuse me, this was a team that was able to showcase their talents on another level. And I think that just goes back to the organization that's been built. That if you a baller, if you a dog, come be one at Colorado. When you look at the hype film for Colorado this year, it's going to be so crazy. I don't even know how they go edit. It's going to be like a movie. Can you imagine all the plays that were made this year? Good gracious, man. And 10 is going to be, he's going to be one of the co-stars in this movie, brother. Like, because he went off this year, man. Shout out to him, man. What a wonderful year for Lejontae Wester.
Dude, let me remind the over 1,000 people out there watching that Dukes and I do not share our youth tell me's beforehand. We hear them for the first time when you hear them live on the show. Shout out to the chat. Again, over 1,000 watching on both networks combined. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. We're here every Monday night. And when you talked about the hype video and people coming here, you just teed it up perfectly for my next you tell me, because I'm driving straight down your highway, straight up to your house with it, because this is your lane totally. I know we got an early signing day Wednesday, and then we got the portal opening up next Monday, and we'll be live next Monday. But because the portal opens up before we go live, I want to talk about it now. You tell me, what this portal going to be like coming and going for Colorado?
Man, I'm gonna talk about what's on the way.
Okay.
As Antonio Brown used to say, business is booming. This is a destination school. I talked to so many. Right now, I mentor about 24 guys who are thinking about going to the portal, and there's some dogs on that list. Colorado is always one of the top schools that they ask me about. If I'm going, and some of them in the portal now, if I'm going, and I know for a fact Colorado is going to have more. There are going to be players that Colorado would have had to take 2 years ago that they can't take now. And I think that's a sign of the program. There's going to be some guys who they got production. They're good. They're big. They're fast. But we already got that. And it's just like when you're in the kitchen. When you got certain groceries, you're not going back to go get the same thing, especially if it's not the same quality. That's what Colorado was built. They're going to be turning guys away because people want to come to Colorado. There are going to be a lot less people as the roster continues to top grade itself out. You're going to lose some guys that you had that were older, but like the attrition of guys who actually got the ball, who played, and aren't going to be on the team next year. I'm predicting that percentage is a lot lower based on now. Why would you leave? Look at what you're building. Look at what you're a part of. Look at what you've done. So yeah, I would think that every team is going to have some attrition, every roster in the country. But remember when they were saying, "Oh my goodness, what is Deion doing? He had over 40-something kids leave the program. He's putting people." And now you're 9-3. You went from 1 win to 4. Come on, bro. Like, man. Oh, I remember one guy specifically. This guy, he was like, and Deion's Louis V. Everybody wanted to joke on the Louis V, right? That's what everybody wanted to do. Oh, yeah, man, the Louis V. Oh, man, what happened to the Louis V luggage? Man, he ain't just bring the Louis V. He ain't just bring the suitcase. He brought the travel case. He brought the fanny pack. He brought all the luggage he brought that was Louis was the 1,000. He brought the Pharrell Louis, the real deal Louis. That's what that is, bro. 2 in the Heisman? 2. You got 2 in the 2 should be in New York. 2 players. And then you look at the players that he brought along with him. He wasn't joking. That man really he saw something that nobody else was able to see. So I think that only goes forward when you look at that recruiting staff, when you look at what Chief of Staff Ray Forsett, when you look at what Corey Phillips, the other Corey, what guys at Coach Box, what these guys are putting together. I'm telling you, there's going to be something special in their portal this year. And last year, they finally had to come off of it. Said, man, Colorado, even though they didn't want to, they finally had to say, Colorado did their thing in the portal. And now guess what? Nobody saw Colorado being able to recruit high school well in the Big 12. Now they at the top, right? So now it ain't just who's coming, or who's willing to come. It's who are you allowing to come. Mm-hmm. Every guy that wants to come to Colorado just can't. And that's not a bad thing, because I believe Coach, anybody who wants to be a part, he would allow to be in there. But he has a job to do, which is to put the best product on the football field. So I think now Colorado started to be selective. And I always talk about this. Shedeur coming out of high school wasn't ranked high. And now he's the number 1 pick. But he knew Shedeur was a 5-star. He didn't whine, he didn't complain. He said, all right, son. Okay, cool, I got you. We out. We went to Jackson State, brought him to Colorado. Same Shedeur Sanders that you've always seen. Same one. And I think that's what's important. The evaluation. Like, now, when do you think about all the guys that they said were rejects or that other teams didn't want it? They were bringing in the portal that balled out this year. You know, think about my man. Think about my man, the defensive end who has a twin brother, Wade. Think about Wade. Wade balled out so hard, you couldn't even keep a red shirt on if you wanted to. You had to play him. And it's more of them. When I went to practice, it's more of them on the way. It ain't over. Dog, there's some dogs out there that are waiting. They on the leash right now because it just wasn't. The team is talented. That is a talented team. And now when you can go into the portal and you can pick pieces and say, he fits, man, I'm telling you, they will be right back in the same position next year, and they could potentially finish the drill, I think.
I love it, man. Sometimes, Dukes, I not only learn so much from your answers, there are other times I'm anticipating how great the answer is going to be because I know you. And so I just visualize my face on Dwayne Wade, and I'm just throwing that thing up, and here comes Dukes LeBron just, I'm just like, hey, I know he's going to dunk this. I know he's going to dunk this. I know he's going to dunk this. Because when we start talking about portal, and we start talking about signing day, and we start talking about recruitment, ain't nan out there better than my man Deuce to Scoop, man. Wonderful assessment and breakdown of it. I love it. Like, I absolutely love it, because I think this is a team where you're going to still have some shock because some people are leaving. But I don't think it's going to be like the year before where people left on a negative cloud. I think there are people who have, quote unquote, proven themselves, and there may be a greater opportunity as far as reps they can get somewhere else. Like you may be able to leave a Colorado and get more playing time somewhere else. And that ain't a bad thing. Coach Prime would be happy for you, because one thing that ain't going to stop happening is not going to stop trying to recruit your eventual replacement. This is a NFL atmosphere. It is a business mindset. And so we out there constantly hunting like other schools do. They just don't tell you, hey, dog, I'm trying to find somebody to put you out of business next year. So you either rise to the occasion or this next guy will. And I think that's going to be the blueprint here. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. You know, you look at a Travis Hunter. Can you replace a Travis Hunter? Hell no. But you can bring in 2 or 3 guys to replace those numbers together. And so receiver room under Jason Phillips and Coach Prime and all the recruiting staff you mentioned is going to upgrade. Same thing on defense, you know, because now you recruited this defense last year with no defensive line coach named. Let's go back to last December now. You didn't have a D-line coach. Sapp was just a mere rumor.
Right.
You're going into not only this recruiting season with a proven D-line coach in D-Lou and Warren Sapp and Dancy, and people see the results of it. If you in the portal and got a year left, you telling me you don't want to be part of that?
Come on, man. I talked to a guy today. I 1,000% talked to a agent. Called me today, and it's for a very prominent guy, and he's not sure if he's going to leave or not. But I'll say this. They want to come to Colorado and play in that culture when they saw what happened with that defensive line. And the defensive line coaching was at the forefront. That's what I'm telling you. This guy's a baller. I don't know if he's coming or not, but I'm telling you, what people are seeing in Colorado is real. People want to be a part of history. Now you've seen it. It's like, bro, you can go get exactly what you need at Colorado. This isn't a second-rate program. They're a Power 4 team, right? And they ball. They ball out. And they know how to build a winner. They've shown you. You can come here and you can win, and you can win at the highest level. You can win the individual awards, and we can win the big award. And all of that can happen at Colorado. You can run your bag up in marketing because you're going to have more eyeballs than anybody in the country on you when you ball. I mean, just think about the guys who came to Colorado to be a sum of a whole, whose stats may have been better somebody else, but they got somewhere else, but they got more visibility in Colorado. I think about a guy like BJ Green. Think about like what BJ was able to add to this defensive line. Well, in this previous stop, he was the whole show. But now the sum of a whole, he still raised his profile because he balled when his number was called. And I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it was right on time. I meant to say.
And you kept rhyming shit. Like look at this, man. You got the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Tennessees, the Ohio States, the Michigans. It ain't been but one college team who's had every ball game broadcast on national TV this year, and that's Colorado.
Right. Yep.
So folks get to see you and don't even have to buy no plane ticket. Folks get to see you and don't have to go to no huddle account. They can sit there and they draw on Saturday afternoons and Saturday nights and watch you play live because you play for Colorado. That's going to increase the number of people not only want to come in, that's going to increase the number of people who want to stay because they feel like next year, you know, is their true opportunity. And here, you talked about Weyerhaeuser. Here's a simple economic theory. Competition benefits the consumer. The more we have people trying to compete for something, the better the outcome is. Ain't no guaranteed spots over here. Ain't nobody been promised this or that. Everybody coming here to work. And as we just peel back the layers, I talked about the defense, LSD, you know, Lewis, Sapp, and Dancy and what they have created. You look on the offensive side of the ball. Hey, man, if you a running back thinking about getting in the portal, why would you not? You about to have a true freshman quarterback. You about to have an offensive line still in place from that pipeline from IMG. And let's say you got 1 year. You'd be crazy not to consider coming and running the ball for Colorado because you know we're going to run the ball more this season than we did the past season.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm just excited. I'm excited to see it, man, because there's a lot coming. And I think I'm predicting now when you look at the average of players coming to Colorado, it's going to be high. And the thing is going to be, and rankings are not the end all be all by any means. But I will say this. you're not going to have the sheer numbers that you needed before because the program is in the right direction already.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I guarantee you the quality is going to outshine the quantity. But
Absolutely.
there are some guys coming to Colorado, and I'm absolutely stoked to see who comes.
Yeah. And you know, one thing you have right now, you talk about proof of concept, Dukes. One thing you got right now is information. And here's what we learned this year. You know, Coach Prime is a goal setter and likes to exceed those standards. Here's what we learned this year, and it's scary. 9 wins ain't good enough. 10 wins actually in the Big 12 ain't good enough because you probably only going to get one slot in the CFP, and that's conference championship slot. So we know going forward what we just achieved that nobody thought we could achieve, we got to add to it next year. How do you do that? With dogs.
Dogs.
With
Man,
dogs.
I'm glad you said that. All right. I'm about, you know, you like to go D Wade. I got to go Chris Paul on this one, man.
Okay, throw me something.
All right, so you talked about dogs, and we know that Coach Prime doesn't do captains. They do leaders and dogs.
Yeah.
Give me a leader and a dog that you expect to have those labels that are returning this year that'll be on next year's team.
Oh, man, great question. Great. Ooh, boy. Great question. Let me look around the room. Hey, first, let me shout out. We over 1,000 watching live now. And so both networks combined. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the notification. Make sure you subscribe. Seen a couple people in the chat. My actual blood brother was in the chat. Big brother Kirby Dion was in the chat. My homeboy John Hardy, saw him scroll by. Shout out to them cats straight out of Mississippi. Look here, when you talk about leaders and dogs for next year, keep an eye in the secondary for Carter Stottmeyer. He could be an LRD. He could be an LRD. He could be an LRD. On that D line, oh man. You look at some of those rushers that are coming back that really didn't get their true opportunities this year. Walker, oh my God, could be a dog or a leader. Offensively, could be a leader or a dog as well, and that's Jordan Seaton. You know, he certainly could be. He certainly could be either or in that regard. I'm interested to see, because he's been with Coach Prime a long time, and he decided to redshirt this year. Interested to see what Jeremiah Brown comes back and does. You know, in this spring and this summer, to see if he can achieve one of those L or D statuses. But one thing I will tell you that you've indicated early, the cupboard ain't empty. Like, we're not starting over. Like, this team is ready to go now. That receiver room still got talent in it. That DB room still got talent in it. That defensive line. And this is college football, y'all. It's just like the NFL. If you ain't got a quarterback, you ain't got nothing. And you took care of that with Juju. I like the direction we headed, man. There's some leaders and dogs in that room. Great question. Great question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. I think man, Coach. So I always talk about Coach Hood, but man, that boy a dog, man. It's like every time he got a shot, man, he figured out how to make a play, and he should have had 2 pick sixes. I be getting on him about that too.
Yeah, he ran out of gas, man. Ran out of gas.
Yeah,
ran out of gas.
Somebody I'm looking forward to seeing next year to be a dog, and man, I'm so excited to see Cam McHale play.
Yeah,
he can play whatever he wants to play. Man, I'm telling you, if he wants to go defense, if you go back and look at them highlights, him playing in the secondary, no joke. I'm telling you, that kid is a baller, and I always talk about who did you beat. Sometimes when you get a kid, you don't want to just look at his individual stats. You want to look at who you beat for him. Colorado beat a lot of people for Cam McHale, and I think that goes under the radar. But yeah, watch out for Killer Cam next year, man, for sure.
Yeah, and he's another one of them that could be either or. Like, I would say, keep an eye on Isaiah Harge, but it's probably more dog than leader because he's not as, or at least this past year, didn't have to be as vocal as other people. And some people lead with their words and actions. Some people just lead with their actions. So, man, it's going to be interesting to see how the L's and the D's emerge, you know, over this offseason. And, man, it has been – we got a couple more minutes, but, dog, episode 4, You Tell Me, Monday Nights Live. Deuce to Scoop, Uncle Neely, Pregame Show Network, also kicking it over on Big Dog Chico's channel. Over 1,200 combined watching. It's unreal. The love is unreal. We appreciate it. Can't do it without you. Big Dog Chico, I think I saw a couple of super chats go by. Let's close it out and make sure we read some of those. AP with the $9.99 super chat. Uncle Neely, love your work. Haven't had a chance to meet you in person because you're always busy. My real nephew is on the team. Hi, Dukes.
Hey.
Appreciate that. Mr. Heels Man became a member of the channel. Appreciate that. You can also become members of the channel, and we do exclusive membership-only content as well. You took that one down too fast, Chico. There you go. Big Teasy showing love and support to the culture. These guys represent the culture, and I appreciate you all, three of you, Neely, Dukes, and Chico, with the Coach Prime $21 super chat. We appreciate you, Big Teasy. Appreciate that love, man. That's awesome.
For sure, man. Appreciate it, Teasy.
What's up, Uncle Dukes? What's something CU staff can do to make sure these after-game antics with fights don't happen at Boulder? Go ahead, Dukes.
I think they've already done it, man. They preach basically so some of the stuff that they've done previously was just that you're seeing people do like with these fights now. That starts in the locker room. You had a conversation before you even get out there. Look, you go. It's almost like my mom used to take me to the store back in the day. Don't go in here and act crazy. I'm not about you. You're not getting nothing. We going in here for two things. So I don't want. It ain't no fussing, ain't no fighting, ain't no whining, ain't no crying. You're gonna be over there looking silly by yourself. All right. So before we get out this car, act like you got some sense. That's a conversation that I think that Colorado can have, and everybody on the team is gonna understand. So I think just by setting the expectation, which they do, and I think another thing that Colorado does really well, they don't just care about the stars, they care about the standard. And their standard is that they're gonna act with class. And if you've ever been around this staff or this team, that you know that there have been some times where you say, okay, well, that's not really the Colorado we know. And they correct it. Every time this year, nothing ever stayed the same. If there was something that need correcting, it got corrected. And I think that's to answer your question. I just think what you instill in them before you go on the field will supersede anything that happens in the heat battle, especially after the game.
Well said, brother. From my perspective, having been a high school coach and been around this program, sometimes it pains you to say it, but there's only two things. It's a fork in the road, and there's only two things. You're either coaching it or you're allowing it. And so if you're in the allowing it business, you got to stop it. And if you're coaching it, you got to stop it, because the only way it's going to happen in your organization is one of those two tracks. You're either coaching that or you're allowing that to happen. And one thing I can tell you about Coach Prime, he ain't coaching that, and he do not allow it, which is why you haven't seen it happen. We have been in some quote-unquote hostile games and environments. You look at the overtime with Colorado State last year with the mama stuff that was going on between the coaches. Then no fight happened. We went on the road there, nothing happened. We've beaten Nebraska here and lost them there, nothing happened. Because the standard within this program is, like Duke said, this mama, you already know before we walk out to get off the bus. Don't go out to show your ass now. Like you're representing the name on the front and the name on the back, and that can be easily changed. So these guys have a standard of discipline, that is not, sadly, does not stretch across the entirety of college football. And I'm not ridiculing somebody. I'm just saying what I saw with my own eyes. When I watched what happened with Michigan, Ohio State, and I saw footage of Coach Ryan Day standing there and not even grabbing a player or talking to a player or saying anything, dog, can you imagine Coach Prime or one of his assistants standing there? Not only would they be front page for having stood there, they wouldn't do it. Like it wouldn't have escalated to that point. By the time we got to the logo, somebody would say, "Man, get your ass back in the locker room." Like that, it's just not tolerated. It's just not tolerated. It won't happen.
For sure.
Throw one more up on the screen, Chico, before we drop that funky beat and get out of here. We'll take one more question. Shout out to Goonsville, always rocking Goonsville. Hey, Goonsville, man, drop a package to Dukes in the mail. We need him to get up. For sure. Got $1.99 from Mr. George. Dukes, please come recruit in Galveston County, Texas. Dukes, they call him for you.
Man, I'm on the way, man. Like, what Coach Prime say? I ain't hard to find. I'm here every week. Keep coming back, man. I'm here every Monday.
Yes, sir. We got one more just popped up. Benji up, $9.99 super chat. Appreciate that. Uncle Dukes, what bowl game do you think we would play in? And if so, what opponent? I'm hoping we get the Holiday Bowl versus University of Miami. It's a long shot. Would be a great game. What you think, Dukes?
I would love to see that game. I absolutely would love to see Cam and Grown go at it.
Yeah.
I think it is a long shot. I think Colorado. I'm guessing they're gonna get the first pick from the legacy Pac-12 teams, which would be the Alamo Bowl. If I had to take my pick, if I had to predict something, I would say you would probably get maybe BYU, Colorado, and the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah. I'm gonna go logic, and then I'm gonna go my heart.
Okay.
Logic, with us still being tied to the Pac-12 Bowl tie-ins for the next 2 years, and with the Alamo Bowl having the first rights, I don't know how San Antonio does not pick a Coach Prime team. And then having said that, because we did not play BYU or Iowa State in the regular season, and they were leading the way, I think it odds are would be Alamo Bowl, Colorado versus BYU in San Antonio. Having said that, if it were up to me, because I love measuring sticks and I love proving what we call it, proof of concept.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be in a bowl game where we get to play somebody from the SEC or ACC just because of what it means. I would love that bowl game. And I think Vegas is the SEC, and then the Holiday State is the ACC. And it wouldn't even bother me who it is. I don't care if it's Colorado, Ole Miss in Vegas, or wouldn't have been nothing better than Colorado, Florida State, but Florida State failed on their end. So you could get that Colorado, Miami, like you said, and that could be something special. But I just think, man, it's going to be the Alamo Bowl, which ain't bad. We want to go to a bowl and we want to win it. That's the goal.
I know one thing. Miss Peggy going to be happy regardless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She going on the PJ, baby. She going on the PJ with her feet up. Going on the PJ with her feet up. Man, this has been another episode of You Tell Me with yours truly, Uncle Neely and Phillip Dukes, a.k.a. Dukes the Scoop. We appreciate, I think, man, we got to about 1,400 watching live. We appreciate everybody who watched live. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that notification bell, subscribe to both channels. Big Dukes, tell them your Instagram and Twitter so they can keep up with you on the side.
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop, DUKES THESCOOP. Hit me out and watch out for some updates. You may see a Dukes the Scoop channel coming soon, and we're gonna talk about a lot. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. Now, Uncle Neely, you the best mentor of the game. I can't thank you enough, bit dog.
No, man, you thanking me with the work, baby. Game recognized game, and I'll be damned if you don't look familiar. I love what I'm seeing, baby. I love what I'm seeing. Chico, drop that beat. Let's get on out of here. Let that thing roll out. Man, you tell me. No, that was
You tell me. Live on Mondays. You tell me. Live on Mondays. You tell me. Live on Mondays.